The Blight is definitely one of the strongest killers in Dead by Daylight, so let's get right into how to counter the Blight in this game. Let's go. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we continue our how to counter killer series for Dead by Daylight. If you guys are new to the series, we basically talk about how to counter the killers in this game. I'll leave a link on the description down below on how to counter every killer that we've done so far. But if you can do me a huge favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, that's very much appreciated. But enough of that, let's talk about how to counter this killer. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the Blight Speed. The Blight's base movement speed is 4.6 meters per second. But honestly, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that because his true speed comes from his power. The Blight's power is called the Blighted Corruption. This power makes him the fastest moving killer in this game. This power allows the Blight to move very quickly through the environment. Now the dash only lasts for a few seconds. He has to bounce off of a wall if he wants to keep using this attack. One thing to understand about this attack is that the Blight can't hit you on the first dash. He has to bounce off of a wall before he's able to hit you. Use this information to your advantage because the first time the Blight dashes, you can actually go towards him and throw him off. Now it goes without saying, never go in a straight line when you're going up against the Blight. He will definitely catch up to you and hit you. Instead, what you want to do is zigzag if you're in open space, but if you're able to loop him around an obstacle, you want to hug those walls as close as possible so that you can do the turns very quickly and he can't hit you around the corner. Now when the Blight uses his dash attack, I'm going to show you the best way to counter that. In essence, what you want to do is look behind you, see where the Blight is coming from, pretend you're going to go one way, and at the last second do a 180 to change directions. This is probably the most useful technique against a Blight. Make sure that when you're trying to do this, you are running, because walking will not give you the right amount of speed. I do have an easy tutorial on how to do these type of jukes, so don't forget to check that out as well. Now, if this is too complicated, you can use a similar technique by using an obstacle so that the killer doesn't know which way you're going. By using the same concept, pretend you're going to go one way when he activates his attack, and at the last second, switch directions. Another useful technique is to hide around corners when the Blight uses his power. When a player is controlling the Blight and using his dash attack, it is really hard to notice if survivors are hiding around corners. I wouldn't suggest using this all the time, but if you can't get to a pallet, this is probably something you can do last minute. Now the most difficult technique is this one coming up. Don't tell any of your killer friends so they don't know how to counter this, but basically, when he activates his dash, just stand still. Let him make a decision and then you move. The Blight is what I consider a reactive killer, so depending on which direction you go, that's the way they're going to try and dash. But if you don't move, then they don't know which way to go first. Windows are also very strong against the Blight. Because the Blight can't dash through a window, you can make a lot of space when you vault a window and the killer's in his dash attack. When you vault a window, the Blight has two options. Either he cancels his attack and he vaults the window normally, or he has to dash all the way around an obstacle to get to you. Now, one thing you don't want to do is drop a pallet early when you're playing against a Blight, especially if he activates his power. If he activates his dash, he can destroy a pallet after hitting it once. TNL walls are very strong against the Blight. Because of the fact that you have a lot of vaults that you can take if you need to, there's definitely a lot of combination plays that you can do. A smart Blight will actually let go of his dash and just try and get you here normally without using his power. The first perk that the Blight comes with is Hex Blood Favor. After you injure a survivor, any pallets around the area are going to get blocked by the entity, meaning that as a survivor you can't use them and you're vulnerable to another attack. But this is a Hex totem, so you can actually get rid of the power by cleansing that totem. Which brings us to our second perk, Hex Undying. This is another Hex perk, and basically what it does is it protects your Hex totem. So let's say that the killer is running Hex Blood Favor and Hex Undying, you would basically have to cleanse two totems to get rid of that power. Blights tend to use this with Hex Ruin, so keep an eye out for that. Now the last perk is Dragon's Grip. After the Blight kicks a generator, the next person or the next survivor that interacts with that generator becomes exposed for 60 seconds. But just an FYI, I do see a lot less killers running this perk. Now the last thing that I will say is that when the Blight uses his dash, it is very difficult to keep up with a survivor during or in a tight loop. So if you hear the Blight coming, go ahead and run to a tight loop and just keep looping him as tight as possible in that loop. If he uses his power, his dash, he probably won't be able to get you very easily. Now there's going to be a lot of you that disagree with this video, but if you found any of these tips helpful, let me know in the comments down below. This is what I do, this is what helps me out, and I hope that even if it's just one of these tips helps you out as well in your games against the Blight. But if you made it this far into the video, please smash the like button for me, and if you're new around here, join the Scream Nation by subscribing to the channel. It's free, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you know when we're uploading next, and also when we go live. That's right guys, we also stream on the channel, so don't forget to check those streams out as well. But that's gonna be it for me guys. Hope to see you on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and have a good one. Take care. Bye. Turn on the TV and turn off the lights. We're playing Dead by Daylight tonight. Turn on the TV and turn off the lights. We're playing Dead by Daylight tonight. Turn on the TV and turn off the lights. We're playing Dead by Daylight tonight. Turn on the TV and turn off the lights. We're playing Dead by Daylight tonight. Turn on the TV and turn off the lights. We're playing Dead by Daylight tonight. You can be Myers or you can be Blight, or you can use Dwight and try to survive.